وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Dear professors from both universities, in Sophia University and International Islamic University, respected participant, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I would like to welcome our colleagues from Sophia University Institute, Prof. Roberto Catalona, in charge of the interfaith dialogue, and Prof. Dr. Beni, Chair of Sociology, Coordinator of Master and PhD in Culture of Unity, Prof. Dilkon O'Brien, Acting Rector, Sophia University Institute, Italy, Prof. Dr. Bendito Go, Economics, Sophia University Institute, Italy. Also, we would like to welcome our brothers from our university, International Islamic University, Prof. Dr. Ahmed Faris bin Ismail, Deputy Rector for Academic and Internationalization, the International Islamic University, Malaysia, Prof. Dr. Thamim Osama, Kuliya of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences at the International Islamic University in Malaysia, Professor, Associate Professor Dr. Fatmir Sheho, the lecturer, the Usuluddin and Comparative Religion and the Director of the International Institute for Muslim Unity. You are welcome.
Good morning.
This first event of our collaboration between the International Islamic University, Malaysia, and the Sophia University Institute in Italy. Both universities are adopting and integrating religion to their own programs. And hopefully at the beginning, we will listen to two professors from both universities to tell us about their own universities, because it is the first event. So we want to know more about both institutions. Then the second two will be presenting their own approach in integrating religion into the university programs. We are quite happy to meet, to share, and to learn. And since it is the first meeting, I would like to say that it's a great opportunity for both institutions and staff as well to know each other and to know our programs and activities in both universities. The main theme of this meeting is understanding both universities and at the same time trying to understand the approach of integration of religion into both institutions. Our program will be quite short because it will be given 20 minutes for each presenter, for 4 of them, and then later on we are going to open question and answers or comments. Here in Malaysia, after 2 minutes, maybe, 2 hours and 20 minutes, the time of breakfasting in the month of Ramadan. Maybe our program will take around 2 hours. And I'm really sorry for any misunderstanding regarding the timing, because the brothers in Italy connected to the program only an hour ago. So without any further delay, I would like to invite Professor Ahmed Faris bin Ismail to deliver his presentation about our university, the International Islamic University in Malaysia. Please, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much, my colleague, Prof. Dawood. Very good afternoon in Malaysia, and maybe very good morning for our partners in Italy. So Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wa mursalin walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So at the beginning, let me first thank Prof. Dawood arranging this very interesting event today between International Islamic University in Malaysia and the Sophia University Institute in Italy. So let me welcome our partner from the Sophia University Institute, Italy. I got the list here, Professor Dr. Declan O'Brien, the acting rector of the institute. Welcome. I hope that soon, I think we can have a face-to-face meeting somewhere. Today we can have an online meeting, but maybe hopefully soon we can have a meeting face-to-face. And of course, Professor, the acting rector, and his team, I can see they're sitting around the table. Okay, so so on behalf of the International Islamic University Malaysia, we welcome this collaboration, cooperation, and engagement between these two universities. Briefly, I mean, let me just mention about some to introduce our university. Our university, the International Islamic University Malaysia, was established in the month of May 1983. As such, we are going to be celebrating our 40th anniversary this coming month of May. So this year is indeed an historical year for us as we are celebrating our 40th anniversary. So we are happy to have a new partner from Italy to continue our intellectual discourse. Okay. So when we started in 1983, there were only two faculties. One is Faculty of Laws, and another one is Faculty of Economics and Management. So that is in 1983. And then after that, a few years after that, we added what we call the Faculty of Islamic Real Knowledge and Human Sciences. Okay, in 1990, sometime at that time. And then in 1994, we added Faculty of Engineering. Okay, so as you can see the progress, this is what is related also to our seminar or event this today is about integration of religion and human sciences. So we started with law, and then economics, and then Islamic real knowledge and human sciences. And then, of course, we have engineering. And after that, of course, we added the rest. I mean, Faculty of Medicine come in, Faculty of Architecture, and then later on, we have Science, Dentistry, Nursing, pharmacy, even ICT. So we have a total of 17 center of studies offering degrees from, of course, bachelor, master's, and PhD. And we have now a total of about 26,000. Total of about 26,000 students. And being an international university, I mean, we have students coming from many countries. At one point, I think it reached about 100 countries from all over the world. Okay. And similarly, I think we have also faculty members coming from many countries. And of course, we have our main campus close to Kuala Lumpur, which is in Gombak. Okay, a place called Gombak, close to Kuala Lumpur, meaning that from our campus here, it is like about 20 minutes drive to the Kuala Lumpur Twin Tower, the Petronas Twin Tower. Okay, and we have other campuses in about 3 hours drive to the east. We have our Kuantan campuses, which house the medical related faculty. We also have one small campus in the south, in Johor, our Pagoh campus. And we have also ISTAC, Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization, as our city campus. I should also mention that apart from the faculty, we also have institute like ISTAC, Islamic Thought and Civilization, and also we have Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance, as well as Institute of Halal Training, so Halal Institute. And the latest addition is we also have what we call Planet IIUM. This is an institute for the planet sustainability. So this is the latest institute that we just established at our university. So since the beginning of the establishment of the university, integration between religion, okay, which we call at our university integration of Islamic revealed knowledge and human sciences has been one of our core mission of the university. Okay, so maybe just to give you a better example or picture is when we started the university in 1983. At that time also the government of Malaysia was starting the Islamic banking and finance. In fact, the first Islamic bank in Malaysia was set up around 1983-1984. And this university was established in 1983. So as you can see, one of our first faculty at IIUM is Faculty of Economics and Management. So, and one of the concentration at that time when we when we started our Islamic Faculty of Economics is Islamic Finance, Islamic Economics. So this the first, I would say, that effort to integrate religion and economics and banking and management. So as a result of that effort, I think we can say that our experts, our scholars in this field, the integration between Islamic revealed knowledge and economics and finance is really supporting the government effort to set up the Islamic banks in Malaysia. So that was in 1983. Of course, fast forward until today, I mean, as you can see, Islamic banking and finance are now well accepted by the whole, I think, by many countries in the world, including Citibank, HSBC, so on and so forth. At the same time also, because we also started the faculty of law. So again, the integration of religion and human science. I mean, where again, I would say that one of the first important contribution of this integration is our law professors, law scholars also come up with the legal framework, especially in terms of the contract law, to support the Islamic banking and finance. So we have shown from the beginning how this integration of religion and human sciences has supported an industry in Malaysia, particularly in the Islamic banking and finance. And until today, I think this area is very fast or very dynamic, and of course well accepted by many countries in the world. So I would say that our approach of integration of religion and human sciences in our university take a few forms. Okay, since the day that we established the university, it takes, for example, I can say that one is the comparative form. Okay, where our students of IIUM who are doing their degrees in economics or in law, or for that matter in psychology, in other human science fields, both of them, I mean, all of these students are exposed to both worlds. Okay, the conventional, we call it conventional. For example, if I go back to my earlier example, if we're talking about economics or finance, they are exposed to the conventional finance, conventional economics, but at the same time, they are also exposed to the Islamic perspective, or Islamic finance, Islamic economics. So they are exposed to both worlds. So one way is comparative, meaning that we do comparative between the conventional content as well as the Islamic content. This is done in all subjects. Okay, so like if I go back to my law example, when they study family law, for example, they will be exposed to the conventional family law, because we were before we I mean
I think, Prof, we lost connection.
Yeah. Both be, yeah.
Yeah, from his side.
This side, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Prof. Faris. I think he is disconnected now. Hopefully he will reconnect. As you could see that Prof. Faris tried to talk about the beginning of the establishment of the university. It was in line with the strategy of the country itself. Since they started, the university started the Islamic finance and banking. So as a result of that, they established this university to incorporate and integrate Islamic principles to all social and humanities. That's why it started with the economy, but then extended to other areas of social and human sciences. Now, at the moment, we have more than 200 programs, whether related to natural sciences or human and social sciences as well. Students coming from more than 120 countries, all of them enrolled in the different areas. And our university is what we call comprehensive university. And comprehensive, it means it covers most of the natural and social sciences as well. It's not, focused on particular area like some of the universities focusing on health or on engineering, whereas our university cover all the different areas: engineering, social sciences, health sciences, and so on. I think if if the professor cannot connect, I think we might go to the second. What do you think, Prof. Fatmir?
Yes, Prof. I think it would be better than if Prof. Faris will join us. We can proceed after the
we can give him
representative from Sophia. Yeah, I think it's better
time so that we want to save time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then let us move to the second speaker, which represent Sophia University Institute, the acting rector, Prof. Dr. Declan O'Brien, the acting rector of the Sophia University Institute, to introduce us to the University of Sophia. Please, the mic is yours, Prof.
Thank you very much. Can you hear okay?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to everybody. Thank you for this great and important event, Ramadan Mubarak. We're connecting from near Florence in Italy, and in some ways, the university we will present, you will see that it's quite different in its origin. It's not a comprehensive university. It's quite a small university. It's 15 years old. We're still, I think, in an experimental phase of development. But I'd like to say something starting from the theme, the integration of religion and human sciences. Because we're in Europe, and therefore geographically in what we call the Western world, we have probably a difficulty that isn't necessarily found in all of the world, which is the presupposition in the West, in the modern West, that religion probably should have very little to do with human sciences. I'm sure there's some degree of secularization everywhere, but you can feel it very strongly in this part of the world, that religion is a private affair. It's for your personal spiritual well-being, but human sciences are more public things. They relate to how people act in the world, what people should do, and it would be better if the two things are not too connected, because this is what secularization brings us in the West. So therefore, even the idea of a university which is doing a comparison between the standard legal structure or financing and so on, and a Christian thing, because obviously we come from in a Christian context, would probably be impossible even to think about. So that's not what we're doing. It's quite a different context for that reason. However, we really do believe that religion and human sciences are and should be integrated, even if it's a bit difficult for our culture to imagine how this might happen. That Sophia is founded on the assumption that it can and should. And I think maybe it's not a bad idea to recall the figure of the person who founded this university, to give an idea of where it comes from. Chiara Lubich, who is an Italian woman who lived in the second half of most of the 20th century. She died in 2008. She founded the Sophia University, but during her life, and she also founded the Focolare movement, which is present in the whole world, and people of many religions belong and adhere to this. Anyway, her basic idea, one of her basic ideas, is religion and human sciences must be connected. I think she knows that she's in a culture that is gradually becoming secularized, where it's gradually becoming more difficult. But for her to put God in the center of one's personal life and in the center of a community's life means to find unexpected ways in which human experience in all of its dimensions can be illuminated and informed and so on. In a writing of hers from 1949, just shortly after the war, where in a context where her own city, which is called Trent in northern Italy, had been destroyed by Allied bombings. So there was a lot of reconstruction needed. She felt that really the important thing is to, first of all, open yourself to what God is doing. And she said, if we do this, I'm quoting now what she says everything is revolutionized: politics and art, school and religion, private life and entertainment, everything. So this is kind of an instinct. My belief in God, or my openness to a religious experience, is not something that I will keep in the private sphere, but it will have an effect in my personal life. There is a tendency, and she knows this already in 1949 and 1950 when she writes this, that we can often think, for example, in a Christian world, that something like the cross, there's the symbol of the cross that Christians use, Jesus on the cross, crucifixion. So these can very easily become a symbol. She says the word talisman, an empty symbol that doesn't mean anything to people, and you can put it on the wall in a school classroom or in a university. It doesn't really have anything to do with what's really happening usually. It's just a symbol, and a fairly empty symbol. And instead, she thinks that, and I'm quoting from the same text from 1949, she says that God should be the legislator of every law, human and divine, for all is of his making. And he, from deep within, dictates everything. He, the eternal teacher, teaches us the eternal and the contingent, not just the eternal, but also the contingent, and gives all, not just religious things, but all, great value. This separating him from the whole of human life is a practical heresy of our times. Separating God from everyday life is a kind of a heresy. It's subjecting human beings to something that is beneath them, and relegates God, who is Father, far away from his children. So her sense, and this is long before she thought of starting Sophia, is that there's a risk in our culture, and in fact that risk has been more and more evident, that people will maybe be religious believers, but won't really think that this is something that should apply to their life in any particular way. And therefore, if somebody's studying economics or law or politics or sociology or psychology, they probably have no interest in, they don't bring their religious faith to that type of study. So it's true that she says this as a question, but I think people in Sophia would assume that it applies to people of any religion, that this passage from religion to human sciences should be a natural and necessary passage. I think we would assume that. So Sophia is only 15 years since it was founded, and in those years it has developed different kinds of programs, but all the time I think the basic orientation is to find a way to do something that she thought was central to the mission of the university, which is to teach wisdom. This is a very unusual thing. It's a peculiar thing. Teaching wisdom, because obviously it's hard to define what wisdom is, and certainly it's hard to imagine how a university can teach it. But it becomes like a program. Discovering what this means is a kind of a program. We have to do what we can if we want to be faithful to that vision of foundation. So the name Sophia comes from the Greek word that means wisdom. But it's divine wisdom. Obviously, it's the type of wisdom that God can give us. So this gift that we consider to be a gift of God is something that can inform the passage from religion to human sciences, because if you study religious things for 4 hours and then you're going to study other things for 4 hours or 1 hour and 5 hours, you should be able to see how those things connect. But maybe the book, when you're studying economics or you're studying law, your book in economics or law will not tell you how they connect. But maybe if you have wisdom, you will be able to connect them, for example. So I don't think it's true that we have studies, biblical studies, in the Christian tradition, the contact with the Jewish tradition. We have philosophy, we have theology, we have these subjects in Sophia. But I don't think the model that we use in Sophia, the implicit model, is that when you study, for example, a biblical text, your task is now to deduce something directly and apply it to the science, another of the human sciences. I don't think that's what people assume. It's not that you will get a direct teaching and you will be able to directly apply it. But perhaps in the experience that you're having in Sophia, you will learn to see the connections between things. This means that probably you can learn wisdom in a course on the Bible, on the New Testament, on something, or if we have courses also on interreligious topics, maybe we will have some contact with different religious traditions. But it won't be necessarily what you study, but the environment in which you study that will help you to gain that wisdom and apply it in different ways. I think this is probably the reason why, even if we have students from different religious traditions, I saw that there's a Muslim from India connected. She's a doctorate student, Farah, and we've had different doctoral and master's level students over the years, both from Islamic tradition, from Buddhist tradition, and so on. People who are not from a Christian tradition, I don't believe that they've found very great difficulty with this thing, because we're not trying to find the wisdom in the text. We're trying to find the wisdom in the relational context that we develop around lessons. It's a question of how the academic community opens itself to a gift which comes from God and not from a text. Somebody at the beginning of the session quoted, I think it was in Arabic, said that knowledge is not in the books, it's in your head. Well, I think that's probably something like what we think in Sophia, that wisdom is not necessarily in books, and it's not necessarily in what the teacher teaches you, but it's in something that you can open yourself to, that God can give you. I think I'm just trying to interpret a personal interpretation of what we think the model is. The model is you have a set of experiences in Sophia. You can study Bible, you can study theology, you can study philosophy, you can study economics, you can study sociology, you can, in an intercultural context, in an interdisciplinary context, in an interreligious context. If we have some students, I think we usually have some student who's not from Christian tradition or more than one. In all these types of intersections between peoples of different generations and so on, there's a certain way that you can favor and encourage the reception of this wisdom that God can give you. And this then can illuminate your study of something, even if you're not now going to quote directly what the Bible says in your economics class, probably, I don't know. We have a lecturer in economics who will tell us whether he usually quotes the Bible. I'm not sure. But maybe there is a lecturer who does quote the Bible, but that's not the idea. The idea is you've got a set of experiences and they are formative of the person. And those sets of experiences include lessons, but also include living in the same space with people of other cultures, of other traditions. Sometimes you have people who live in the same student residence with people of other faiths, perhaps people who are naturally your enemy because of international conflicts. And this then informs your engagement in the lessons, because you come to the lesson with a different question, because you are going to your residence and now you are having to deal with the whole of the world. Okay, so when Kara Lubick then speaks about what is this wisdom that we're looking for, she gives an interesting description. She says that wisdom helps you to see how things are, the world in which we live. And her quote is, wisdom will help you to have a vision of the unfolding, I'm quoting here, the unfolding of eras and ages, the succession and interlocking of events, the flow of history, the development of one's own life. Everything is seen in its relationship, one of dependence and of convergence to a divine design. So the ability for a person, even a person who is not of religious faith, because we can also have students who are not of particular religious convictions, the environment can help you to find meaning and a sort of what we call a transdisciplinary dimension to the different studies you're doing. The experience can help you through, you said that you had 120 nations represented in the student body in your university. I don't know if you add all of the different categories of students together in Sophia, because it's hard to count, but between doctorate students, people who are finishing one thing and people who are doing, you don't get much past 120 students. We're not talking about 120 nations, but not much more than 120 students. So it's a limited group who are doing masters and doctorate students studies usually. But those people are interacting in an environment where the whole life together is formative. You acquire the competences to interact with all sorts of people. We think that the specific, there's a need for something like Sophia, because many universities proceed, at least in this part of the world, on a model that favors a kind of super specialization. You study in your basic degree, you study something, and then you go to your master's level course and you study something more, a specific field, and then maybe you do a doctoral course, a study, and you arrive at make a contribution to some specific, very delimited area. Sophia attempts to do something a bit different. It's not to increase your specialization, but to take whatever specialization you have, whatever studies you've already done, whatever formation, even cultural formation you already have, and to open it to the types of connections and interrelations that you can learn in an environment such as this. Because, of course, the world needs people who are super specialist in all of the specializations of study. But it also needs people who are able to connect, see relations, interact with people of different cultures, interact with people of different professional formation, because the world is facing very many complex questions and they don't have simple answers. You take, I presume you do much of this work also yourselves, but you have a question like the environmental crisis. You're not going to find somebody in a specific field of engineering who has the complete answer to the environmental crisis. You need to be able to work with people of different disciplinary formations and find innovative solutions to complex problems. So perhaps that's what Sophia can offer, is this kind of despecializing in some sense, but reconnecting with other types of fields of study. So a lot of what Sophia is, it's a small experimental type of university. It's quite peculiar in these kinds of ways. A lot has to do with the intersection of religions, religious cultures, but even just cultures and human sciences. The search for knowledge, search for wisdom and understanding that allow you to make the kinds of connections that probably the world for certain types of things needs, not just people who are super specialists, but people who are able to interact in relation to complex questions. In this sense, it's very natural, and it's very we're very happy. It's very natural that we begin to have this relationship with your university, because it becomes another opportunity for students and scholars and lecturers and so on to work together with others in that space of encounter, which for us would be an openness to wisdom. It would be an openness to what God wants to do in the world and not what we want to do, because sometimes our vision, actually always our vision, is smaller than God's vision. So sometimes we have to be surprised, and in the encounter discover things we didn't already know. Sophia has, since its foundation, shown in its own sort of, within its own limits, strong commitment to promoting interfaith dialogue, fostering understanding between people of different faiths and cultures, hosting conferences and so on, working on issues of social justice, all of these types of activities. The collaboration with you can only strengthen our ability to, even for our own students, to provide contexts in which even our students will be able to further develop their critical ability as critical thinkers, to even interact with students of an Islamic university who may have a whole different context in their culture, different issues and so on. And together, this would then be for them something that empowers their ability to generate innovative solutions to in a world where we have different religions, different cultures, and so on. So the more we can open ourselves to these kinds of experiences, the better it is for us to form those types of abilities and competence. So we're looking forward to what comes after this meeting, the opportunity to meet face to face, as we said, and to see what God, if I can quote God for the 8th time, because I think religion is about God, I think. So what God wants from this collaboration, we don't know yet, but we're very excited to learn. So I would leave it like that.
Okay. Thanks very much, Prof, for this insightful presentation and discussion regarding Sophia University. I'm sure that our participant might have some also question to ask or to raise later on. But I would like to invite again Prof. Ahmed Faris if he wants to finalize his presentation, because he didn't have the chance to do it. Prof. Ahmed? Prof. Ahmed Faris. Anyway, if not, then we have to move to the third speaker, Dr. Benedetto Go in the Economic Sophia University Institute. And he will be talking about the case study on integration at any level they are perceiving or understanding, because I could gather from our acting director that you tend to separate both and leave it open to the person to integrate. However, we'll leave our professor now to give us his own presentation so that we might understand better the concept of integration. Please, Prof.
Thanks, Professor Dawood. What I will say will come from my personal experience, which is largely within economic sciences and connected with it to the economic world. Of course, as you know, Sophia, there are also scholars and courses of other disciplines, theology, philosophy, psychology, sociology. I am forgetting some. And one of our commitments is to maintain a continuous dialogue among them. But I remain an economist. So my personal experience, I have been part of the Focolari movement, the movement from which Sophia has taken birth, since I was 20. Don't be afraid that now I will tell you what happened in all the 50 plus years following. Okay, I will try to stay within the 20 minutes. Participation in the Focolari movement has brought me back to the Christian faith that I had received from my family. And so I have learned, or newly learned, that the main law that we are called to follow is the law of love, starting from those who are closest to us. And also I learned that this attitude applies to all the situations. So love is not only for a couple of lovers, who are members of the same family or old friends, but also applies to a difficult colleague, someone who misbehaves, even to those who act like enemies. And also, I learned how rewarding it is when the other reacts correspondingly, adopting the same attitude. So mutual love, or agape, we say, which is a presence of God among us, can become a reality. And also I learned, and had the opportunity of practicing, that the same attitude can lead us to take care of people in poverty or in hardship or excluded for any reason. And that also that this is not an unpleasant duty, but a source, can be a source of joy or meaning. So when I had the opportunity of starting a career as scholar and later teacher of economics, I was struck by the distance between all these experience, values, meanings, and the description of human attitudes and behavior that was, and I would say still largely is, considered as normal within the economic science. The inhabitants of the world that is usually described in conventional economic science draw satisfaction from what they can consume, try to maximize the advantage that they can derive as individuals from the circumstances or from transactions with others, and little more. It is as if the eyeglasses that standard economy theory wears were unable of seeing some phenomena in the same way as our eyes cannot see the infrared light frequencies. And so an important task is to take to visibility, to light these phenomena, those precious phenomena that I was mentioning before. And what happened mostly was that well-intentioned economists, well-intentioned either because of religious motivation or for other motivation, at the end of their writings, they try to add a moral appeal to encourage donation or redistribution out of moral consideration. this seemed like a nice hat covering head that instead below was bald, like mine. So we needed something more. So luckily in the literature of economic literature, there were some authors and some writings that were trying to find an explanation within the economics discourse. For example, this was one of the first topics that I studied. Finding an economic rationale for organization like not for profit organization, foundations, association. And for me, contributing to this field, who was just was a nascent field, it was a first step for practicing and teaching an economic science that could make room for those precious human dimensions that I had experienced. For example, the importance of motivation, which are not non-monetary, intrinsic motivation is a concept that comes from psychology. And also the effects on the counterparts that come from dealing with an organization led by people who have intrinsic motivation rather than monetary or for-profit motivations. Our rector said before that the effort should be not of superimposing Christian values on the topic at hand, that is derived indirectly from Christian values, but the effort is to let that these values inspire the understanding of situation, also the descriptions of situation, because those who don't really believe in those values risk to forget their presence within the decision-making and the minds of people understanding. Another lesson that I learned within the Focolare movement is how precious and delicate are interpersonal relationships, and how important it is to approach them with openness, benevolence, appreciation of the other, to take care of them, to cultivate them with detachment, of course, because otherwise there would be a risk in this. And I was also struck that in mainstream economics, there was no sign of all this, because human interaction was mainly transaction, or more explicitly exchanges, and all the rest of the richness of interpersonal relationship remained hidden. So from this consideration came the proposition of an idea of relational goods, the discovery that within relationships there are hidden, invisible, intangible goods, which are very important, certainly for satisfying needs that are within us, but also for the functionings of organization themselves. Because if we forget that we humans have also these sides and concerns, we risk giving the wrong prescriptions to the function of organization. So this has been a topic that I had the opportunity to study together with other colleagues. This is the other important aspect, who also find the inspiration in Christian faith, also with others, but has been a group of people also motivated by Christian values, with whom I had the opportunity of working together and participating in this a bit pioneering work that was done 20, 25 years ago in some of these fields that were quite neglected by others. Other topic I can mention, the connection between interpersonal relationships and the topic of happiness. This topic of happiness has become so fashionable at the time. And another topic, another, I would say, keyword that was investigated by member of this group of people who are connected with Sophia, who are now teaching and collaborating at Sophia, is the concept of trust responsiveness. What does it mean? Trust can be considered just a question of advantage, because I know that it is in the interest of the other to behave well if I trust him or her. But there can be more. There can be more relational aspects in trust. Okay, I will be quicker. Even through this group, an expression entered into the titles of economic papers in an international journal, the expression fraternity, which of course was not the most common, and right with the meaning of considering the economic life an opportunity for sharing our common human nature and our brotherhood. This has been really is the most fulfilling, enriching experience of my professional life, both in interaction with colleagues, other senior colleagues, and also with younger colleagues, which gives the additional responsibility of transmitting the best that one has understood. Okay, all these concern the world of ideas. But of course, faith also impacts facts, not only how we describe facts, but also how they are conducted. And in particular, the founder of the Focolare movement, that has been mentioned before, Chiara Lubich, invited all people of goodwill, of course, starting from the member of our movement, to do what? To practice, to develop an economy of communion, where communion means that economic life can lead us to share the most profound and fruitful relationships among others, apart from sharing goods. So this economy of communion promotes, invites businessmen to share part of the income of their activities for helping those in economic hardship immediately, and also helping them to find a better source of income for their families, and thus promoting a culture of sharing and of respect for everybody. Oh, here we see the faces of some of our students on the screen. So this invitation to live an economy of communion has been taken up by many generous people, a few hundred, maybe 1,000, 2,000, if we include all around, which is a significant number. Of course, still a very small minority in today's global economy. And with the effect, and this had an effect on how they conduct their businesses. I just mentioned a few cases. Remember a Spanish seller of products for agriculture who traveled 2,000 kilometers to a plantation because there was a customer who wanted to buy the products for a treatment for the olives, but the seller of products was not convinced that that was the good treatment. And so he traveled to the plantation to conclude that it was not the good treatment, or that there was no use in making that treatment in that season, so nothing had to be sold. This is probably not the usual attitude of sellers, and of course the customers has appreciated greatly it. Another example is an Italian businessman who had a business in the mechanic sector, went one day every week to support the company of a competitor, because this last was seriously ill and his firm was at risk of going bankrupt. And so this businessman belonging to economic community didn't want to see those workers losing their jobs. And so he took this obligation. Or a Filipino rural bank, which has rejected profitable business of making loans to government employees. I said profitable because the repayment can be directly taken from the wages of the employees. And they did this because they didn't want to pay bribes for obtaining this, to say, opportunity of making loans to employees. And instead, they decided to expand microcredit, much less profitable. Still, they were able to conduct it in the black, not in the red, but a business that could help thousands of poor people in the villages. Or also a consulting company in Singapore, so close to you, that has a group of partners of different religions, who all, despite different religions, they all share the engagement of putting people first and of maintaining unity among them. And for this reason, even they have sessions in which each can ask the others to modify some undesirable behavior. And this is a tool that they use to maintain harmony among them. Okay, then an employer in Argentina who gives a second chance to an employee who has been fired for misconduct, and so on. There are many of these, if you want, some of them are small actions, which are not, do not only occur in these companies, because the discovery is that they are found, among others, in many businesses. Almost every business has some good humanistic practice, and what is important is to throw light on them, to encourage all business to do so, because the quality of a person's work experience is largely made of these small facts. So these small facts can change the life of many people. And what concerns Sophia, that as scholars, as teachers, me and my colleagues, we had the opportunity of interacting closely with these entrepreneurs to learn from them, and in a sense, give them back their experiences expressed in the language of economic science, in a language that could give more dignity to the precious things that they were living. This is how at Sophia we understand economics and management and how we teach it. But as Professor Ahmad Faris bin Ismail was saying at the beginning, we also try to keep a continuous comparison dialogue with the standard, the conventional science of economics, because of course our students must be able not to live in a separate world, but to be able to act, to live in the economics as everybody else, and more, as most people consider it. Last word concerning another initiative that comes from Faith, an initiative that has been launched by Pope Francis, and it took the name of Economy of Francesco. Francesco is the Italian name for Saint Francis, a saint of the 12th, 13th century, who chose poverty, who had a special care for nature, on the environment that we receive as a gift from God. And in the current situation of great concerns for many reasons, he has launched an invitation to young people to, let me quote, rethink her mental and moral priorities and bring them into greater conformity with God's commandments, and strive for a better and happier future with greater, especially in the economic, how to say, domain, pointing attention to the person, especially those in the worst situation, and to the environment. This is an initiative that is going on, goes much beyond Sophia and also the Catholic world, because an invitation that I think also religious leaders of other religions could launch similar initiative, because it's an invitation to the youth of the world to do their part for a future economy which can leave to the future generation a world more secure, more happy, more in line with nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, for your motivating presentation. Is a very excellent experience, and hopefully our participant might raise some of the questions or comments on what you said. Again, I would like to invite Prof. Ahmed Faris Ismail again to just finalize what he was saying, because it was cut off immediately. We couldn't follow up his presentation. Please, Prof.
Okay, thank you, Prof. First of all, I would like to apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think suddenly there is lost connection, I think, due to weather. I guess I don't want to interrupt the flow, but maybe I should conclude by saying that listening to the Sophia University's professors, yes, indeed, another important element in our integration of religion and human sciences at our university is also looking at the values. So we become one of the universities that put values, professional ethics, attitude, is very important component in our curriculum, both inside the classroom as well as outside the classroom. So I guess this is another very important component that I think we share with, like Sophia University mentioned. And maybe the last point that I would like to mention also, we are also seriously embarking in community projects. So I think this is also another important element. I think we not only in the classroom, we integrate religion and human science. I was mentioning first the comparative part of the conventional and the Islamic perspective. The other part is, of course, I think directly when we study the Quran, the Islamic, the revealed knowledge, we are putting whatever teachings and dimension in our curriculum also, in many of our curriculums, when not only when we are teaching human science, for that matter, I think even when we are teaching medicine, engineering, science, so on and so forth. So primarily, I think because we want to bring these values inside. So to conclude, our university believes in humanizing education, meaning that we would like to
Again. I think as Prof. Ahmed Faris emphasized that in Islam, because it is taken for granted that Islam is a way of life, is a comprehensive to all walks of life. So it gets across all the different disciplines easily, but that will require the lecturer to know how to integrate and to know also the revealed knowledge relevant to their own different disciplines. Anyway, I think we have to move on to go to our Professor Dr. Tamim Osama for outlining the case of integration in the International Islamic University, mainly in the social sciences. Please, Prof, the mic is yours. Prof, do you hear me? Okay.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Respected Professor Daud Al-Hidabi, the Director of International Institute for Muslim Unity, honorable professors from Sophia University Institute, our honorable Deputy Rector for Academics and Internationalization, Professor Dr. Ahmed Faris, Dr. Fatmir, and other colleagues and participants. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and a very good morning to my professors from the Sophia University Institute. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, very clear.
Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Al-Hidabi. First of all, I thank the Institute for inviting me to speak on integration, the experience of the IIUM. And I have added that I should speak focusing on the experience of two important entities. One is Center for Fundamental Knowledge, which was truly instrumental to the integration of knowledge, and then Kulliyah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences, which has followed the footprints of the Center for Fundamental Knowledge in integrating Islamic revealed knowledge with human sciences. I will not focus or discuss conceptual or methodological dimensions of integration or integration of knowledge. Rather, I give my learned audience some important historical background as well as our experience. I have chosen to focus on our experience because I was part and parcel of the system which implemented the process of integration of knowledge in the university, particularly in the 1980s and later on in the 1990s, when we established the Faculty of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences. I will be focusing on these aspects: establishment of the IIUM, then Islamic philosophy of knowledge and education, then 2 kulliyas and 2 centers, or 2 faculties and 2 centers, establishment of the CFK, which means Center for Fundamental Knowledge and its rationale, then Center for Fundamental Knowledge, aspirations and goals, courses offered by the center, objectives of the courses, as well as the role of the academics of the center. Then, if time allows, I'll be embarking on referring to some of the important aspects of the Faculty of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences. When it comes to the establishment of the IIUM, we need to remember that the establishment of this university was mooted by Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, the then Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia. Of course, he was instrumental in establishing this university. According to one document, it was established on March 20, 1983. This university was conceptualized based on knowledge and education's philosophy as recommended by the World Conference on Muslim Education held in Mecca in 1977. For the information of our learned audience, there was a First World Conference on Muslim Education held in Mecca in 1977. And this conference passed several resolutions. And one of the several resolutions was to establish a university focusing on integration of religion with all human-made knowledge, social sciences or humanities or natural sciences or medical sciences, physical sciences. What is meant by the philosophy of knowledge and education according to the First World Conference on Muslim Education? It has emphasized 3 important aspects. First, unity of knowledge, in which the revealed knowledge, that is religious, becomes the most crucial component and center of Islamic education. So when we talk about Islamic education, according to Islamic philosophy of knowledge and education, we should focus on unity of knowledge. We do not really believe in the dichotomization of knowledge. And the unity of knowledge refers to the revealed knowledge that is religious. And this religious knowledge is the foundation. B, the purpose of acquiring knowledge as a means of assisting the seeker in playing the fundamental role as God's servant and vicegerent on earth. So the second aspect of this Islamic philosophy of knowledge and education is the purpose of acquiring knowledge is to make and assist the seeker of knowledge, the students, to play the fundamental role as the deputy of God, representative of God, or agent of God on earth for transformation. C, the all-embracing scope of Islamic education as the process of developing the mind, the body, and the spirit of man in the light of Islamic Aqidah, which means creed, Sharia, which means law, and Akhlaq, which means ethics. So we understand Islamic philosophy of knowledge and education means that we do not only focus on academic excellence, rather we believe in comprehensive excellence in which creed, law, and ethics are integrated. In the beginning of the establishment of the university, there were 2 faculties and 2 centers. Initially, the university came into existence with 2 faculties and 2 centers, Faculty of Laws and Faculty of Economics, as our Deputy Rector has mentioned, and 2 centers, Center for Fundamental Knowledge and Language Center. The Center for Fundamental Knowledge offered courses related to Islamic revealed knowledge and heritage or religious knowledge to students of the 2 faculties. Of course, Tun Hussain An was its first president and Tan Sri Muhammad Abdul Rahub was its first rector. Of course, His Majesty, the Royal Highness Sultan Ahmad Shah, was appointed the university's constitutional head. The university had 2 governing or policy-making bodies. One was Board of Governors and the second IIUM Majlis or Council. The Senate of the university was the highest academic body, which was chaired by the rector or vice chancellor, was responsible for all day-to-day academic matters and activities. Let me focus on the establishment of the Center for Fundamental Knowledge and its rationale. This will help us to understand later on who played the role of integrating the knowledge in the university in the formative era. In conformity with official philosophy and objectives of the International Islamic University, this center was established to provide courses that constitute the religious foundation of the educational system of the university, as well as the unifying center of the whole university curriculum. So that was one rationale. It provided courses constituting religious foundation of the educational system of the university, and it was the center of the university, unifying the university curriculum. The knowledge imparted through the courses of the center, which is Center for Fundamental Knowledge, dealt with revealed knowledge. This is our terminology in our university, or for the purpose of my learned audience, religious knowledge, which stands above all other categories of human knowledge and is essential for every individual to acquire in addition to other knowledge and skills. In our religion, Islam, it is our belief that the Quran, which is the holy revealed book, is the source of knowledge, is the source of systems, is the source of values, is the source of laws and institutions. And therefore, we believe that religious knowledge should be the foundation in developing all aspects of knowledge or all fields of knowledge. The CFK, or the center, formed the spiritual fulcrum around the religious life of the university students. Subsequently, the center developed courses and offered to students of the 2 faculties, Faculty of Laws and Faculty of Economics. Faculty of Laws and Economics were never offering courses independently on religious aspects. It is the center that was offering courses, trying to inspire students to understand the process of integration of knowledge. So the courses constituted the religious foundation of the educational system of the university. Notwithstanding the fundamental nature of the courses offered, the center itself did not offer a bachelor degree of its own. The center was the center for the whole university. It was not offering any bachelor degree at that time. Of course, later on, it offered a master degree that was also based on the requests came from students who graduated from the Faculty of Laws and Economics. Nevertheless, the curriculum of the center was not designed just for the intellectual growth of the students, as is the case in institutions of higher learning. Its ultimate target was the integrated and holistic development of the total human personality in the Islamic mode. So we in the university do not simply focus on the intellectual dimensions or intellectual development of our students. Yes, this is very important. This is the core, and we focus, we do not sacrifice, we do not bypass the importance and essentiality of it. We really go for intellectual excellence. Besides intellectual excellence of students, we were concerned with moral and spiritual excellence of the students, for which we focused on the holistic development of the total personality of students in the Islamic mode. Therefore, the knowledge imparted by the courses at the center was meant to be put into practice. So our knowledge, our courses were not theoretically in nature. We focused on the practical dimensions of the courses so that it will result in God consciousness, taqwa, harmonious human relations with fraternity as a solid base, correct behaviors, conducts, attitudes, and right action as part of the program to live as true and genuine representatives or agents of religion, otherwise known as vicegerents of God. And that was the basic rationale of our center. It focused not only on the theoretical dimensions, but the knowledge should be put into practice that should result in God consciousness, harmonious human relations with fraternity, correct behaviors, conducts, and attitudes, and right action. It was almost visualized on campus for a long time. So the CFK strived to provide correct understanding of the worldview of Islam and its relevance to all aspects of life. So the worldview of Islam was provided in such a way that it was and it is relevant to all aspects of human life. It attempted to build a generation of educated Muslims endowed with praiseworthy spiritual and moral qualities for the sake of attaining well-being in this world and in the hereafter. We believe that our people should not be only intellectuals, but they should be taking care of spiritual and moral qualities for the sake of the well-being in this world and in the hereafter. Here lies the vision of comprehensive excellence of students, which is currently one of the missions of the university. It helped to avoid the artificial barriers created by man-made theories and ideologies, which have caused severe divisions among the religious sciences, so that they become reintegrated once again into the original unity of Aqidah, Creed, Sharia law, and Akhlaq, morality. So the center coordinated not only with other disciplines, but also with other departments of the university. It was a center, it coordinated with other disciplines and other departments. It supervised the non-formal activities of students towards the fulfillment of the concept of integrated education. We in the university, when we talk about integrated education, it is not only integrating the knowledge of one religious aspect with other social sciences, but it also takes into account non-formal activities of students. It made conducive and constructive efforts to offer the society an example of the necessity to make religious knowledge the integrative core of all human knowledge. So the religious knowledge is the integrative core of all human knowledge in the endeavor to produce Muslim personality who possess Iman, faith, knowledge, ilm, and act righteously, or amalus salih. So in order to achieve the above mentioned enthusiastic and overwhelming aspirations and goals, courses were offered. We offered 38 courses in the center, and students were required to take only 11 courses equivalent to 22 credits. Of course, the students were selecting courses according to their need, requirement, and intellectual ability and past record. So the objective, these are the objectives of the center. Let me say first, the objective of the offering these courses was to educate students to learn the art of integration of Islamic revealed knowledge with laws and social sciences. We had the faculty of laws as well as faculty of economics. Economics was part of social sciences. So we offer these courses to help students on the art of integration of Islamic revealed knowledge with laws and social sciences, including economics, besides understanding the philosophical significance behind the integration of knowledge. The courses were offered every semester. We did not offer a course in one semester and the following semester the students were not taking any course from the Islamic paradigm. No, we offered courses every semester to keep students on track of integration, which allowed them to perpetuate the integrative process. The hierarchy of the courses was designed in such a way that students were able to experiment with the process of integration of knowledge without any difficulty, resistance, reservation, and interruption. The 11 courses were fundamental in nature, and at the same time, focus was made to instill the culture of integration of Islamic knowledge with social or human sciences and humanities. Okay. Apart from offering the courses, our academics had their role. The academics were different in their role, dedication, commitment, and contribution. They were not like others in other institutions where materialistic interest dominates, sometimes at the expense of morality and spirituality. Their dealing with students were unique in our university, a manifestation of a brotherly, sisterly, and fatherly atmosphere of the superlative degree with the sole aim of obtaining the pleasure of God. They treated themselves as dedicated shaper or murabbi. We use the term murabbi in university. Murabbi means someone who shapes, molds, and trains the students' personality from a holistic, comprehensive Islamic religious perspective. They did not act like university lecturers, but behaved with a high degree of ethics and function as role models. So our academics were role models, and they are emphasized to be role models for students and inculcated laudable behaviors and habits in students and sowed seeds of ummatic responsibility. We do not believe in ethnocentrism. We do not believe in racism, or we do not believe in this or that ideology. We believe in ummatic unity, solidarity, responsibility, and consciousness in the university, transcending parochial, racial, ethnocentric attitudes that were then destroying Muslim unity and solidarity. So students were educated, and academics were functioning in this way. So we had also some camps which brought students to worship, to nurture their spiritual qualities. There were worship camps from 1983 until 1990, and later these worship camps were given different names. I will not go into the detail of that, but let me just give you the quote from the Minister of Education, who was the minister at the time when the university was established in 1983. And his name is Dr. Sulaiman Haji Dawood. He came to the university in 1983 and he gave this address. And I quote, he says, "I am happy to note that the International Islamic University is committed to implementing this concept of integral education. The Muslim community in Malaysia, as well as throughout the world, will be looking forward to seeing the products of this integral education 4 years from now. He was speaking in 1983, and he was expecting graduates after 4 years from 1983 to have the quality and characteristic of integrated education. He says they are expecting to see not just Muslim graduates receiving their degrees, but more importantly, human beings. So in our university, we do not want simply to produce graduates with a paper in their hand. We want them to be great human beings who are endowed with right knowledge, right faith, and right action as required by religion. It is the Islamic personality, the holistic Islamic personality that the Ummah, that the community or humanity is craving for to solve its economic, social, and cultural problems. And the quote ends. Since our time is very, very limited, I had to skip 1 or 2 slides. Look at the diagram.
But you've got 5 minutes to go.
Okay, I will finish it, inshallah. Look at the diagram. This diagram brings 7 important concepts that we want our students to nurture, and we want our staff to instill in our students. First is Khalifatullah fil Ard, Vicegerent of God on earth. Every student of this university should feel and realize that he is a Vicegerent of God on earth. Then he should have trust, amana, and he should work for purifying his soul. And he should feel he is the servant of the merciful, Ibadur Rahman. And he should have faith and righteous action. And he should work only for seeking the pleasure of God. He should not work only for money. He should not work only for position. He should not only work for this and that. He should sacrifice all these worldly pleasures, but work for getting the pleasure of God in the final analysis. That is what we are trying to nurture among our students. And lastly, we want our students to approach all worldly issues using the method of moderation. We don't want our students to be excessive or extremist in their human relations or human interactions or interpretation of religious issues. We want them to be moderate. With this, I move on to the Faculty of Islamic Revealed Knowledge in Human Sciences. If our moderator permits, let me just go into these things briefly. This Faculty of Islamic Revealed Knowledge in Human Sciences was established in 1983. The CFK, the Center for Fundamental Knowledge, was transformed into this faculty. And this faculty exists even today. It has 33 years of experience in integration of knowledge. The first thing in integration of knowledge is in this faculty, we have a major minor system. What is meant by major minor system? Those students who take religious degree programs must minor in one of the human sciences or social sciences. For example, if a student is majoring in Quran and Sunnah, he can minor in either sociology or political science or psychology or communication or philosophy or history or whatnot. So in this way, social sciences or human sciences students should minor in revealed knowledge or religious sciences. So in this way, the Islamic studies students can integrate their knowledge with human sciences, and human science students can integrate their human science knowledge with religion. With this, we have double degree concept. After spending 4 years, a student can go for a double degree because he has a minor, and this minor can be converted into another major using the credit transfer system. And we had academic advising, and this academic advising was very efficient. We used to advise our students on what to take and what not to take based on their religious background. And we applied full credit our system, and that helped students to be flexible in registering courses. Some students were able to graduate in 3 years, some were able to graduate in 3.5 years, some were able to graduate in 4 years. So we were flexible. That system is not in practice now, but it was there. Then we allowed graduation was made possible in 3 years because of the full credit hour system. And there are 3 more things to share with you regarding integration of knowledge. Let me just put you the other things I just skipped. These are the courses that we were offering as fundamentals. This slide is very important. In the Faculty of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences, we were offering these courses, and we were asking our academics to prepare textbooks of these courses. Foundations for Political Science in the Quran and Sunnah. As I said in the beginning, Quran and Sunnah are the sources of knowledge in our belief and understanding. Therefore, each human science discipline should be developed in the light of the Quran and Sunnah, or from the Quran and Sunnah perspective. And therefore, in the faculty, we offer these courses: Foundations for Political Science in the Quran and Sunnah, Foundations for Psychology in the Quran and Sunnah, Foundations for Sociology in the Quran and Sunnah, Foundations for Communication in the Quran and Sunnah, Foundation for History in the Quran and Sunnah, Foundations for Philosophy in the Quran and Sunnah. And these courses were offered for a number of years, and later on, and these courses are not found in the curriculum, and perhaps in our understanding, the issues on various foundations of social sciences in the Quran have been already integrated or incorporated in their core courses or electives. And that is why we do not offer independently courses on these subjects. So with this, of course, we have many things to share with our learned colleagues from Sophia University, as well as who are in our Zoom and YouTube. Our time is very short. With this, I take opportunity again to thank IIUM, and in particular, Professor Dawood and Dr. Fatimir for giving me this opportunity. Inshallah, if there is any question from the audience, let me try my best to answer. With this, thank you all very much. Wa billahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thanks, Prof. Tamim, for this comprehensive elaboration and presentation of the integration concept in our university, and also the transformation and development of the concept itself. Now, without delay, also, I would like to ask all our participants to raise their hands if they want to either comment or pose questions, or they can write in the chat box. We have around 20 minutes to finish our session, inshallah. It's quite clear that now, at least, all of us, both universities, know more about other universities, and also their approach in the concept of integration, either on the basis of value-based education or practically integrated Islamic principle into the different courses in the program. I'm sure that we are learning from each other, and this is just the beginning, and we will continue working together for further activities which might enhance our understanding and collaborate in a more effective way. Any questions? Any comments? I would like maybe if Prof. Faris around.
Yes.
Yes, please. Can you give us a final comment, please?
Yes, Prof. Faris, you are welcome, Prof. Faris.
I'm afraid to talk now, otherwise
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Now, because we are about the end.
maybe I just would like to thank our partner in Sophia. I mean, for having this session. I mean, we want to learn from each other. There are many things that I think we can learn from each other. I believe that many values are shared between our universities. And of course, I mean, if we work together, then I think maybe we can come up with some good research collaborations, or maybe new ideas, ways on, especially to solve many many contemporary problems facing the world. I mean, in the East, in the West, you know, especially talking about economy, talking about social, and so on and so forth. I think I believe that if we work together, we can come up with a better framework for the world. And indeed, COVID-19 experience has taught us a lot. And for us, we believe that this is another reminder from God, that He sent the COVID for us to reflect on the purpose, the value of life, and how I think we human beings should help each other and work together. So I welcome collaboration and cooperation with our partners in Sophia University. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Sister Farha, you want to ask? Sister Farha. Okay, maybe she's not around. I would like to just...
Yeah, hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
I'm Farha Iman from Delhi, and I'm a student of Sophia University and a PhD student. And as a student of Sophia, I would like to thank everyone for this beautiful meeting and program. And I would like to share that my experience in Sophia, that was not only intellectual learning, but also holistic learning. No, actually, I sum up in one sentence sometimes that lots of aspects of Islam I learned in Sophia, and I think that if this can come together, this efforts can come together in a collaborative way, that will be a great effort, and that will be a great initiative for both the university, I'm sure. Thank you very much for everything. This is
Thank you. Thank you, sister. I would like just to call upon Professor Dr. Declan, the acting rector, if you want to have a final word.
Yeah, fascinating to me to listen to what you have communicated. Very interesting to consider the different contexts in which these two universities are born. Your university has a very strong, clear context in Malaysia, in the government policies, and therefore it grows in a certain type of way with certain types of interactions. And Sophia is very different in that way. But as I understand, and as I said at the beginning, we find ourselves in a culture that has a lot, probably more difficulty in connecting religion and human sciences. Although Christianity itself should not have this difficulty, the culture has developed this difficulty with time. So somebody's asking, what do our friends in Sophia see in common after hearing professors from IIUM? I think a common conviction that these things need to be connected, and differences between religious traditions will be always secondary, probably, to the basic learnings that we can have from our religious traditions. There will always be so many things that we have in common, so many things that we can work on together. And also then when you speak of initiatives, projects, problems of today's world, ethics, values, there are a whole range of things that we can learn from one another. And since you have had a longer history and you're now going to celebrate this great anniversary. I think we can only learn from what you have been able to do with all of the in that context. And then, of course, Sophia will have to do what it does in a different context, but open to this. I personally believe that God speaks through these types of encounters, and we don't know how to, but we have to open ourselves to learning from one another. There's another question.
Thank you, Prof. Dr. Fatmir, would you like to say any few words?
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. Dawood, for moderating this wonderful session today. And I would like to thank the representatives from Sophia University, as well as our representatives who gave us very insightful information related to the integration of knowledge from both, if I say, Christian perspective and Islamic perspective. That is just only, I would like to hear more from the Sophia University when it comes to whether there is, when the professor was talking about integration based on his experience related to economics, I would like to have some clarification whether there is any process or any guideline that shows to those who are related to that field in Sophia University, that shows them the way how to do this integration from the religious perspective, and in this sense it is from Christian perspective. So I'd like to have a bit clarification about that. As we have in our university, as presented by Prof. Tamim here, that we have very clear guideline that shows that process of integration. So that is only what I can say, Prof, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Any response from Sophia University regarding what Dr. Fatmir said?
My first reaction would be, we don't speak about integration, which doesn't mean that integration is strange for us, but I would rather I am used to rather speak of inspiration that come from the Christian faith for addressing, in my case, economic issues. By the way, the same could be said in a parallel form as far as political issues are concerned, and there are people who are engaged just in that, in finding inspiration from Christian faith for how to address political issues. Not necessarily which decisions should be taken, but how to address, how to look for reasonable, adequate answer to the challenges, the political challenges of every place and time, with the inspiration drawn from our Christian faith. And secondly, is another point that we stress, with the help of the in Christian language, the Holy Spirit speaks when people unite each other in order to find light concerning how to face the difficult choices of any field. I don't know if this is enough as an answer.
Okay, thanks very much. I think we are coming to the end, but I would like to thank Prof. Muhammad Bamashmous, the architect of this collaboration from the beginning. So I would like him to, if he wants to say something, because we thank him very much for the initiation of this collaboration from Italy. Please, Prof. Muhammad, do you want to say a few words?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
buongiorno agli amici di Sophia. I am really very happy to see that this collaboration now is in action. But let me say something regarding another aspect of this collaboration. I am speaking as a member of the first Islamic institution that wants to become a university in the future. And I was really impressed about the lecture of the professor of the Islamic University when he was speaking about Murabbi. I think really that what we do in the university at the end is for the best of the society. So independently about what we are going to study, we have to focus on the society. And I think this collaboration will be helpful for both the societies, the Malawi and the Italian society, and in particular, at the end, it will be also very useful and will benefit the Islamic minority in Italy. So I am really very grateful for both universities and for Professor Dawood that accepted at the beginning this idea alongside with Professor Benny Colabout. And I'm very, very happy and thankful to God that we realized this project. Thank you very much for all.
Thank you, Prof. And we are ready. We would like to say in front of Prof. Ahmed Faris that, as he also emphasized, that we are ready to collaborate for the benefit of humanity as well as Muslims in Italy as well. So we are ready to collaborate with Sophia University and with your also institute, inshallah, in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We are just coming to the end. I would like to say thank you for all for coming and attending and sparing your time. And it is the time now approaching for our breakfast. So we will make dua for all of you to supplicate to God to help us all to collaborate more effectively, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See you again in the near future.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you. Iftar.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.